one of the things that bewildered a lot of fans, including myself, when I watched Picard, was the first F-bomb that dropped. I remember I actually went like this when looking at the screen because it made no sense. For those of you who don't know, Star Trek established within the lore the fact that in the future people don't swear. It's a golden age for mankind. There is no reason to swear. Everyone is happy. Everyone is content. And the decision to have Picard cursing was bewildering. But I guess now I found the explanation. Apparently, the actor himself was deeply shocked by the profanity. And he says that Picard had actually taken an active decision not to abuse language that would be unpleasant for people to hear, whether it is abusive or offensive in some way, and he stuck to it. So we're talking about the old Star Trek. Even if he wanted to say damn, blast, or whatever he would, for the most part, he managed to deny himself the pleasure. When I came across the first swear word in the script, I can honestly tell you I was deeply shocked. I grew up in a family where swearing was second nature. Every other word was a swear word, and yet when I read, it might have been the F word that I read, and I was shocked and unsettled by it. So, the actor is experiencing exactly what we, the viewers, experienced. Why are they cursing in Star Trek? So he went and had a conversation with the writer, and he said that he was uncomfortable with and it was never a part of Star Trek, despite the fact that within the script, he felt comfortable with it. But here's the thing, the world we are living in has changed. It is changing. So I never understand like this, it's the current year, so we need to add what's popular in the current year within the IP, regardless if it makes sense or not. And this is an excuse for progressives to shoehorn their talking points into the TV show. But it makes just as much sense as if Star Trek was done like 10 years ago and they would say, okay, what's popular now? Dubstep. Alright, let's add dubstep in Star Trek because that's what's popular. It's current year. Or if they would make it now, it's like, okay, well, what's popular now? VTubers. Alright, let's have VTubers in Star Trek. Even though it doesn't make sense. It doesn't age well. Like 5 years from now, people aren't going to get the reference. And not to mention, like, people outside the US don't get the reference. If you're making a show like Star Trek, which has a wide appeal, and you're all about, oh, my inclusivity. Well, be fucking inclusive for a change, and stop adding references about American politics within the current year. And this is exactly what Picard says. It's like, oh, well, African-American people, women, young teenagers, old men are being shot by the cops and protesters and whatnot. Okay, well, now it's all about Ukraine. Actually, no, now it's all about abortion rights. So, yeah. But like, what does this have to do with adding the word fuck in Star Trek? You know, like, at the end of the day, even if the plot was bad, I still think like some people would have watched it if they would have kept the essence of what made Star Trek Star Trek. Which is the golden age of humanity, which is most of the show having to do with people talking. Like 90% of a Star Trek episode where it's people just sitting in a room talking to each other. It was a soap opera, really. But I watched the trailer for the new Star Trek, which I think they call it Distant Worlds or whatever. And the trailer had like action music. It was like dun 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 dun. Like what the fuck? And it has like the spaceships going and pew 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 pew. And then it has like explosions in the background and the captain making a Marvel joke to show how quirky and current year he is. And I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? That's not Star Trek. Okay? Star Trek is about people talking to each other. Now, when you do that, it's difficult to write it, right? It's easy to write, okay, well, there's an explosion and the spaceship is flying overboard and it's going pew, 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 and then you make a quirky joke. That's easy to write. Anyone can write. I can write that shit. But to actually write some intelligent dialogue, to try and predict technological advancements that will happen in the future, to try and predict how humanity would be in a golden future, that is difficult. That takes talent, that takes skill. And time again, it seems that the producers who are in charge of making Star Trek right now are incapable of having talent and skill. So yeah, they go like, pew, 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 pew. Okay. You know, and curse words and potty mouths. Like this is the trademark of progressive creation, I guess. People that have the mouth of sailors and potty mouths, and on top of that, you have like action that happens really fast with a couple of Marvel jokes. Oh, like name me the TV show that does that, because I can think about like 20 just off the top of my head. Literally every one of them is like a copy paste, like stormtroopers, identical to each other, but none of them can land a hit. It is so disappointing. And to see that this actor, you know, like, that doesn't lose any opportunity to shoehorn some politics, like personal politics, okay? We're not talking about like the politics of Star Trek. It's the Prime Directive and all. No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about divisive politics that they want to stuff down your throat. I watched The Next Generation recently, and gotta say, like, there's a lot of plot inconsistencies within episodes, and a lot of things don't make sense, but it's still watchable because, number one, it's fun, it's wholesome, and number two, they don't push the politics down your throat. I mean, yeah, sure, they might say, like, okay, well, this is how we would like, but, like, that was pretty much what the Prime Directive was about. It's like, you don't interfere in another person's culture. So even when they went to a planet that they disagreed with how people live their lives there, they didn't try to force them to live their lives in a certain way. They didn't try to impose their will, which is pretty much what you get to see in the modern Star Trek. It's like, no, this is the correct way, and everyone needs to do our way because we are right and we are on the right side of history. And you keep having like this thing where the actor himself says that, oh, well, I was identifying with Picard more and more, like it was one and the same. Probably he does, okay, because I kind of believe that this was the role that put him on the radar. But like then he says, well, I'm not the writer, so it's like, why aren't you the writer? Or at least why aren't you having direct input into how they write the show with the character that you identify with? Maybe it would have been a lot better, because now a lot of things are explained. I mean, there's so many plot holes and inconsistencies that I wonder, like, how on earth did they sneak past this guy? And now I know. He didn't write it. I mean, yeah, sure, he was the executive producer, I believe. Like, he was a higher up, but he wasn't in charge of the writing. And he didn't have any input on the writing. Okay. Let me know what you guys think. And hopefully, I will see you on my Discord. And by the way, I have a live stream channel. Link is into the pinned comment. Subscribe to it if you want to see some VTubing action where I VTube my entire model. Like, it's big, it's on the screen. And I'm going to make you guys laugh and entertain you. So hopefully I'll see you there. Take care.